Hey everybody, it's Erin Reed, and today I'm going to show you how to do this fun ghost inking and apply it to a project. Now, this project was on show at Creativation, which is an AFCI conference I got back from a little while ago, but I made this video before I went. And here's a picture of me at the show with the project. And I did a little make and take demo where I was showing how to do these techniques, and this thing was on display while I was there. So I'm making the video before I actually got to the show, otherwise how would you know? But I wanted to show you kind of how to do this. So I'm taking the Rinea foil paper, and this only works on the foiled paper from Rinea. It's a very special paper that actually has paper on the outside, or paper on the inside and foil on the outside. So here is the paper that's on the inside. This one I'm working with is the Ebony Glossy, and I have two things. There's three things you actually need. Four. I always forget the fourth one. You need your paper, you need your heat gun, alcohol, ghost ink, and paper towels. So the technique I'm going to show you right now is the crackle effect, which is really super cool. First thing you're going to do is you're actually going to crumple up your paper. Now you can do it a couple of different ways. You can take it in sections and crumple. The more crumples you add to it, the more texture you add. And it gives it kind of this fun metal crackly look. So it's the crackle effect. And I came up with this technique, and it's really kind of cool. And it works specifically with the ghost ink and the foil. So once you feel like you have enough little creases and dents and things, you are going to open your paper back up. Now that you've created all these little nooks and crannies, I'm going to smooth it out a little bit so you get the same size that you were looking for earlier. And then you take your ink. So this one needs a little bit more in this corner. You can judge it however you want, and you blot. The ink is a special formulated ink to work with the foil to help to remove the color of the foil. So I'm just going to blot all over, and you can see it actually on the foil. And notice how it's only hitting the top parts. Every now and then you get a little, it goes a little deeper. You can hit a corner. I mean, you can add a little more if you want. If you want to get a little bit extra in there. Now I'm just going to dry it. I dry it with my heat gun. If you live in a really dry environment, you don't have to worry about this part. Just the point it's dry, take your paper towel, and this is isopropyl alcohol. A few squirts, and you rub. And look how cool this is. It removes that color from the foil to reveal the silver underneath. So something on my desk is shaking while I do this. So I'm going to go ahead and speed that up so you don't hear that stupid noise. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, and I know this box has a little window that's on here, but really I don't kind of care about the window. I want to cover the box and make it look like it's a metallic box. So I'm just going to apply some of my glue. This is just a quick craft glue. I'm trying to make this easy. And I know it's going to stick on there and stay, and I don't want to get into I don't want to leave adhesive in the middle. So I'm just going to place this here, just like that. And look at that, isn't that awesome? I was thinking about with the box, do I want to cover the corners? I thought, no, I'll leave that the way it is. I don't want to go all the way to the edge. You're still going to see it unless I painted it in black. I thought it was kind of fun. I don't know if I want to do the inside yet. As I go along, I'm going to do that. I also cut some more papers. Sorry if you hear lots of background noise. It's a really kind of a crappy day here in Texas. And everybody is home today. So I cut this. There's two. Here's the two narrow ones. There's one that's a little bit more wider. And then there's the widest one that's on the side. The exact same technique for these, and glue them on. So I've cut some more papers, and I decided to go for a different color. The outside of the box, as you can see, here we go. So here is the outside of the box. It's all covered in the black. And I even put on the bottom, there's two different types of papers that you can get. One is called Starstruck, and it's got little stars all over it. And the other one is Glossy. It's pretty obvious which one's the difference. So on the very, very bottom, I decided to put the Starstruck just for something fun. Then you open the box up, And the first thing you're going to see is this flap right here. So I thought because it's the only one that's right there, I would do the sapphire. I thought I would do the Starstruck on the top, and then I have all the glossies, and I'm just going to go ahead and cover up that square. And there's really no need for me to have that on there. And then I've cut pieces, but I'm going to go ahead and do the same effect to all of these pieces too. So far the method I've told you is where you spray on the paper towel and then you wipe it off, but I want to show you what it looks like when you go the other way. It's kind of cool too. So I'm spraying the whole thing with the alcohol and then wipe. And you get a little bit more of a spread because it's mixing with the ink that's on there, and you're getting a little bit of a different feel for it. And there it is. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this in. So it does look a little bit different in color. This is the glossy on the sapphire. You can see it's all on the inside. And then this is the Starstruck. There's a little bit of a difference in color. It's not hugely different, but you can definitely see the stars. It just creates more texture. And then there is the ebony. Now, as I was adding all these foils in, I think because this is tin foil, it's reacting a little bit with the magnet that was holding this shut. And there's not much I can do about that. So I'll probably just add a ribbon to the outside of this box when it's all said and done. I've also pre-cut a whole bunch of sections of this is copper on the Starstruck to go on the inside of the box. So this little insert actually goes into the book, and it's a 4-sided by 4-sided. So what it is, I grabbed a whole bunch of other colors of this foil, and I'm actually going to place each one on the inside like this. And I know I cut it really short, but that's okay. Part of the reason why I had to cut it to a 4x4 is this is not quite 5 inches, it's a little less. And I want to emboss them. So the embossing folders, most of them are only 4 inches wide. And that allows you to get full embossing. And that's a really pretty design when you emboss these. They're so gorgeous. So when you're doing embossing folders, you got to do plates. It's ABB. When you're die cutting, use ABC. I always forget. So it's super simple. You run it through, you bring it back, and look how pretty, right? Isn't that gorgeous? So I don't want to use the same embossing plate over and over. I've got 5. So we're going to keep changing it out. I'm going to add another one in. Run it through. Look how pretty, isn't that gorgeous? And then I'm going to change it to the next one. I'm just going to keep on doing that, going all the way through for all of these and embossing them all. So the process for doing the embossing is exactly the same. You take your ink once you've embossed it, you pat it all around, you heat set it. Or just dry it real quickly. And then alcohol and wipe. And everywhere the ink touches is where it's removing the color. So all the raised parts everywhere. And if I didn't hit it with the ink very well, it's not going to come off. This is a very cool, textured, fun look. It has so many possibilities. I mean, I just love that. It looks like a tin tile. It's so cool. So I'm going to do these for the last two. Now what I decided to do for these guys is leave them plain. Just leave them beautifully embossed. Not mess with them. Not do this look with them. Just for something different. So on this particular one, because this is the embossed, this is the part that's raised. And then over here, it's actually the reverse. Like you could take it and it would be a different section that's raised. So depending on how you emboss it, depends on what section is going to pop out. So for instance, all the circles that are on here are going to be sunken down and the ovals are raised up. But on this side, the circles are raised up and the ovals are sunk down. So kind of is a neat way that you can go two different variations on the same embossing folder. So here it is. You got a little foldable that's got all these beautiful some embossed and done the Rinea. This is the Rinea ink, ghost ink embossed. This is just plain embossed. A little bit of variety on all the different sides. So this is kind of like my demo thing. But I could easily bring this back home and like put a picture in the middle of each of these. And this is just a beautiful background. Put a sentiment in the middle and it becomes like this fun little mini book. And then obviously I've layered the insides of all these layers. And now for the front cover. All right, so let's finish our box. So what I've done is I've die cut out 2 hearts. This one I'm gonna leave, because you can't ghost ink it. It's like, I'm not inking it, I'm not ghost inking it because you can't take silver off of silver. It's just not gonna happen. But I do wanna give it that crumply. I don't want it to have that perfect look. So I am gonna crinkle it and give it that crinkly crackle look without doing the ghost ink. Just make it a crumple heart. This one, however, I am going to ghost ink and do the crumple effect as well. So you can definitely die cut. You can do all kinds of shapes. You could crinkle it, then die cut it. I just die cut it first. And I'm using all the similar colors that are in the box. I don't want to rip it, so I'm being very careful. Because it's, there we go. It's folded funny. Didn't want to force it. So same method as before. Move the stuff out of the way. Apply the ink, really rough, and you can see some of the lines from the ink, and that's cool. I like that. Look how cool that looks. All right, I know I've got all these other pieces on there, and we'll get to that later. So what I'm going to do first is apply my hearts. Open my glue up. I closed it. Sorry if you guys are hearing some background noise. TV's going on right now. Not that I'm watching it. Somebody else is watching it. All right, so apply that heart. Now I'm going to apply this heart. It's just pulling in that silver. I love the look of the layers. I tried it with just one and it looked funny. That's why I didn't like it. So there's that. Now, you could easily add flowers, all kinds of stuff, but I really like the look of the flat on the box. You know, sometimes I go 3-dimensional, sometimes I don't. Plus, the other thing about this is that I'm taking this to the show and I don't want it to get squished and crumpled. So sometimes leaving it flat will just save the wear and tear on the box. Now, the other thing that's bugging me is, notice this, drives me crazy. So, I came up with a solution. Found some pretty ribbon that I thought would go and kind of fits within the feel of it. And I thought, well, why can't I make it like a snap? You know how you have elastics, and I just don't have an elastic, but I got tons and tons of ribbon, so let's come up with a cool ribbon. I'm going to trim this end real fast. And I found these snaps. And they're just the snaps that you would use for your clothing. I was like, why can't I use it for this? So I pulled out my, and you're not going to see the color, that's the other thing. So I'm just going to use whatever thread I have and needle I have in here. I don't need a super small one because those holes should fit a normal size needle. And you guys, I'm going to skip through the sewing part. I'm going to kind of get you started, but it's pretty basic. And I'm just going to grab whatever thread happens to be handy in here. That's too small. Oh, there's one that's already, nope, too small. I got some that are already threaded, but nope, too small. Lots of too smalls. We'll go with red. Don't you love my little needle? I've brought this out a couple times before. It's an old Tupperware container that you used to make hamburger patties out of. I don't know why it's got a lid, or I guess it could be the storage thing, but it's turned into a perfect size for this kind of stuff. My little portable sewing kit, basically. My mini sewing kit. All right, so I'm going to, and because this is going to get pulled and pushed, I'm going to double up the thread. I don't want to screw that up and break the thread. And this box would still function without this. I just think it's kind of a cute little something on there, holding it all in place. Ow, I just poked myself. So I'm going to take the first snap, and it's got to go, I got to think about how this is actually snapping. So I've never actually sewed one of these on before. This will be my first time. I'm going to keep it together. Well, I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try. I think I have to unsnap it, at least for all I do this side. So now that I've got this sewed on, and again, it doesn't matter if it's going to be in red, it's going to get covered up. I'm going to come in on this side, and I'll leave that really right there. And I'm trying to make it nice and tight so it holds the whole thing together. And I'm going to sew that little piece onto the other end. So now I've got the two buttons launched in. See if this fits. Yay! And it holds the box closed. It's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so I was debating putting a second clip. I think one's going to be enough. So I've taken this button here and cut off the end, and I'm just going to glue this down. Now, the beautiful thing about this is because this can be rearranged kind of wherever you want, and it's probably going to end up sticking right about there. And I can shift it in, I can shift it wherever I want because it's snaps and unsnaps. Ta-da! Just like that. Now I got to be able to see if I can do it with this button on, because otherwise it's not going to work. So let's add a little bit of glue right here. It'll also help solidify everything into place. Make sure this doesn't fray and come apart, because that's been sewn in right at the very, very edge. Hopefully this won't come. This is a pretty good glue. So I'm just going to let that sit. And that's it. There's a little box. I don't want to open that up right now, but you guys saw what the inside looked like earlier. So now I can take this to the show. It'll be my demo, and I might be able to bring this back and add some fun stuff to it later. Add, you know, some of the little projects to each of the pages. It just becomes an open-ended mini book on the inside, or I can put, you know, other things on the inside as well. Thanks so much for stopping by. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye-bye.